What's up, ADHD fam? Welcome back to the channel. It's ADHD Coach Ryan here. Today I'm going to be sharing some ADHD friendly strategies for success. So I asked all of you on my socials, what do you struggle with because of your ADHD? And whoa, did you deliver? And by the way, if you're not already following me on Instagram and TikTok, make sure that you do, because that way you can be a part of the next Q&A video here on YouTube. And thank you so much for everyone who left a response. I'm gonna do my best to answer all of them, but if not, I'll make sure to include them in a future video. How do I stick with something that is no longer interesting? What some ADHDers might refer to as shiny. So when that shininess wears off, what do? I have found that the key is to take on new projects, new initiatives with friends, because we are totally willing to give up on a new project when we're just doing it ourselves, but we're not as likely to give up on something if we're going at it with others. For example, using a new kind of notebook or a new planner. I know that I started using an erasable notebook and a couple of my clients decided to join in with me, and we've actually stuck with the habit for several months now. Way to go! How do I stay still for long periods of time, especially when it's boring? This is a really challenging thing, especially when we have hyperactivity. We're more hyperactive in our body than in our minds. So here's my recommendation. If you know that you have a long or boring thing coming up where you're gonna have to be sitting still, try to get out as much of that excess energy as you can ahead of time. So that can look like going up and down the stairs, finding a place where you can do some body squats, or maybe even some push-ups. Just getting out that energy as much as you can ahead of time. And even when you're in there, you can do things like moving your feet. This is something that I do. A lot of my clients and I will try this out, but I call it car crunches. So if you're sitting, whether it's in a car or in this case in class, you can actually contract your abs, like I'm doing right now, to try to get out that excess energy. Also, have a notebook that you can use just for doodling or drawing pictures. I find that I actually can listen a lot better if I have something on the side that I can just draw on. How do I switch gears when I'm going from one task to another? This is a big challenge for those of us with ADHD. As Dr. Ned Hallowell famously says, we have Ferrari engines for brains, but bicycle brakes. And if you're going really fast and you try to change gears, there can be a lot of friction and you might even break your transmission if we're talking about a car. So I understand this can be really tough. So there's a couple tips for this. One, have accountability. So if you have a body double partner, or if you tell someone, hey, I'm gonna reach out to you when I'm done with this task, that will help you to finish one task and transition to another. Or a real life example that I'm using today is I have to get dinner ready before the family gets home. So I've actually set a timer downstairs on the oven, don't worry, it's not on, to go off, so that I have to leave my office and go downstairs because I won't be able to handle the beeping. So you can set a timer in another room, not just on your phone, because then it'll alert you to go away without snoozing that alarm. How do I talk with people? It can be really challenging to pay attention if you are in a conversation. There's a lot of stimulation, there's a lot of movement, a lot of different sounds depending on where you are. So what I would say is try to remember certain parts of whatever they're talking about, and then you can ask them questions about that. Here's a phrase from Dale Carnegie that I really enjoy, which is always remain more interested than interesting. In other words, ask them more questions about them, because then you don't have to worry about what to talk about. Everyone likes talking about themselves. Being uncomfortable with new things. So jumping out of our comfort zone. In this example, the person's saying about going on Instagram Live. So here's what I'm gonna say. If you have enough followers that you can go live on any platform, that means that people really value your perspective. So just remember, if they're wanting you to go live, that means they want to hear about you. They care about your perspective. So instead of worrying about what others might think, just keep in mind those people you're helping. Why'd you get into this in the first place? And if you feel intimidated knowing how many people might be watching, you can always just say to yourself, I'm only talking to one person. So right now, I'm the only person in my office. I'm just talking to you. And maybe you can take that same approach with your Instagram lives. Does that help? Welcome back to the dating coach, ADHD Coach Ryan. I'm just kidding, but this question is about dating. Well, just remember, everyone has something special to offer to the world. Dating can be a big challenge for those of us with ADHD. And here's why. We lose interest quickly. So I can remember, for example, before I met my wife, I wondered, am I ever going to be able to stay loyal to one person? Because if my interest is always shifting, how's that going to work? And I can tell you as living proof that when you meet the right kind of person who accepts you for who you are, you're just gonna know. I know that sounds like a little bit cheesy, but you just find that person who appreciates you for all of your quirks. It's just gonna feel really natural. But just know you're not alone, because many of us with ADHD, it can be a struggle to pay attention and follow through on all the things, especially after the honeymoon period is over. Well, this week I found a block of butter that I bought 2 weeks ago in the shopping bag on the chair. I've definitely run into this one before. I have this routine whenever my wife Andrea brings home the groceries, I'm always in charge of unloading. So I have this routine, and hopefully it can help for you. I unload all of the bags from the car, and then the next phase of it is I unload every item out of the bags and I just put it on the countertop. That way I can see all the items, and I fold all of the reusable bags and I put them back into one bag. So if you do that, you would quickly realize if there were still items in the bag, which there's totally been items in the bag for me before. Take all items out of bag, place on counter, and fold up bags, put them away, and then you can, from there, obviously, when it's in your vision, you can put away all of the groceries. Being on time for work, meeting deadlines, remembering things to do, the list goes on. Again, just know you are not alone in this. The struggle is so hard. It's challenging to have ADHD and to meet the expectations of a neurotypical world. So here's what I would say for being on time for work. This is gonna seem a little counterintuitive, but do as much as you can the night before to prepare. So it might seem like you're overdoing it, but I promise this helps. Know what outfit you're gonna wear. Have your lunch packed. Have everything that you need in the area. I call it a launch pad, but have it right by wherever you keep your keys. And also make sure you always keep your keys in a singular place. If you always lose your keys, you might want to consider what Andrea and I have. We have a long lanyard attached to our keys, so it makes them harder to lose. And gather all the things that you need to bring with you that day. That will stop what I'm sure a lot of us have experienced, where you're going in and out of the house 5 or 6 times before you even pull out of the driveway. As far as meeting deadlines, it's my specialty to work with people at work, about things in the workplace. So my advice there would be to go to your manager proactively and say, hey, I wanna make sure I do a great job for you. And in order for me to hit these deadlines, it would be really helpful for me if we could meet more frequently, maybe once a week for 30 minutes or an hour, just to go over all the things I'm working on. Here's the secret part. What they don't know is that's gonna help you to stay accountable. Because when you have that shorter deadline, you know you're gonna be meeting weekly with your boss. That's gonna keep it front of your mind so that you make progress, so you have something to show, so that you don't come empty-handed from the week before. As far as having a list of things to do, we've all probably heard, make a to-do list. Well, that isn't very helpful if you can't remember what to do. I call this having a butterfly net close at hand. So always have a notebook or something you can write on, so that when an idea pops into your head, you put it right into the notebook. That way, at the end of the day, you can gather those all up and put it into your trusted task manager. Thank you all again for watching this video, and I hope it provided some insight for how you can manage your ADHD better. If you found this video helpful, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you're not already, and share it with someone you love who might want to know some of these strategies. And when you hit the like button and subscribe, it really does help my channel to help more people. And that's really why we're here. We're all in this together. As always, thank you so much for watching, and just know, you're not alone, not anymore. You're not broken, you're just wired a little bit differently. So make sure to become part of this community. We can all help each other to grow.